Hey, Grandpa, think you can handle something heavier than that broom? The old man looked up from the small wooden porch, his hand still resting on the broom handle. His grandson, Alex, stood a few feet away with a teasing smile. Alex was tall, young, full of energy, and loved joking with his grandfather. But today there was a strange worry in Alex's eyes, hidden under the smile. Grandpa sighed softly and leaned the broom against the wall. "If you brought trouble again," he said, "put it down before your grandmother sees it." Alex laughed. "Relax, Grandpa. It's not trouble. Just a surprise." Grandpa raised an eyebrow. "Your surprises usually explode." Alex shrugged. "This one won't." Grandpa stepped off the porch. The sun was just starting to set behind the trees, painting the sky orange. Their small farmhouse sat at the edge of a wide field, with tall grass moving like waves in the wind. It was peaceful here, quiet, the kind of place where nothing strange should happen. But today was different. Alex walked to the back of his car and opened the trunk. Grandpa leaned forward slowly, expecting tools or some broken machine Alex wanted fixed. But it wasn't that. Inside the trunk lay a large metal case, black, heavy, and locked with two steel clips. The moment Grandpa saw it, his heart stopped for a second. He knew what that case looked like. He had carried cases like that long ago, during the years he didn't like to talk about. "Alex," Grandpa whispered, "where did you get this?" Alex rubbed the back of his neck. "Uh, someone gave it to me." "Who?" "A friend." "What kind of friend gives you a military weapon case?" Alex avoided his eyes. "A rich one?" Grandpa stared at him. "Alex." "Fine," Alex sighed. "I bought it." "You bought it?" "Yes." "With what money?" Alex smiled proudly. "I saved. Also, maybe I sold some stuff. But look, this is important. I got it for you." "For me?" Grandpa stepped back. "Why on earth would I need something like this?" Alex reached inside the trunk and pulled the case out. It was heavy. Even he had to use both hands. When it hit the ground, dust jumped around their feet. "Because," Alex said, "I know who you were before. I know what you did." Grandpa felt a cold chill crawl down his spine. "Alex, we talked about this. My past stays in the past. There was nothing great about it." "That's not true," Alex replied. His voice was firm now. "You were a Marine, a sniper, a hero. Why do you pretend you were nothing special?" Grandpa shook his head. "War heroes are just people who stayed alive. Nothing more." Alex knelt next to the case. "I want you to teach me," he said softly. "I want to learn from you." Grandpa froze. The wind blew against his jacket, but he didn't feel the cold. All he felt was fear. Not fear of the weapon, but fear of what teaching Alex might unlock inside himself. He had buried that part of his life many years ago. "No," Grandpa said quietly. "Close the case." "But—" "Close it." Alex looked disappointed, almost hurt, but he didn't move. Instead, he pressed the clips and opened the lid. Inside, wrapped in soft foam, was a high-powered sniper rifle, silver and black, polished like new. Grandpa felt like someone punched him in the chest. He knew this rifle. Not this exact one, but this model, this shape, this weight. Memories rushed back. Dusty deserts, long nights, echoing shots, the stillness after a bullet hit its target, orders, missions, faces he could not forget. He stepped back again. "Alex," he said sharply, "I told you to close it." Alex looked up, his eyes soft and hopeful. "Please, Grandpa, just one time, teach me once. Show me how you used to do it." Grandpa felt his jaw tighten. The last thing he ever wanted was to bring someone he loved into that world. But Alex wasn't giving up. "Why do you want to learn?" Grandpa asked. Alex hesitated for a second. "Because I want to protect the family," he finally said. "You're getting older. Dad is always busy. I just want to be strong enough to handle things if anything ever happens." Grandpa stared at him. The boy's voice was honest, pure. Alex wasn't interested in war or violence. He just wanted to feel capable, safe, useful. Still, this path was dangerous. "Alex," Grandpa whispered, The things I learned were not meant for peace. They were meant for battle. Once you learn them, they stay with you forever. You never forget. And sometimes, you wish you could. Alex looked down at the rifle. I understand, he said quietly, but I still want to learn. From you, not from the wrong people. Grandpa breathed out slowly. The sky was now half dark, the first stars appearing. He felt the weight of the moment pressing on his shoulders. Finally, he said, one lesson, only one. Alex's face lit up. Really? Grandpa nodded. But after tonight, we put this away? For good. Alex smiled wide. He didn't say anything else. He just picked up the rifle with both hands and followed his grandfather toward the open field. The wind blew softly as they walked. The world felt quiet, calm. Neither of them knew that this one lesson would pull them into something far bigger, something dangerous, something that would change everything. But for now, it was just a grandfather and a grandson walking into the night. Grandpa stopped at the edge of the field. The grass was tall, moving in waves with the night breeze. Moonlight reflected off the rifle, making it look cold and heavy. Alex stood beside him, holding it carefully, almost like it was alive. His hands shook just a little, but his eyes were wide with excitement. First, Grandpa said, this isn't a toy. You don't point it at someone unless you mean it. Do you understand? Alex nodded quickly. Yes, sir. Yes, Grandpa. Grandpa picked up a small metal target from the ground, a circular one about the size of a plate. We start small. Learn to see the world through patience, through focus. That's the trick. Not power, not strength. Focus. Alex looked confused. Focus? Yes, Grandpa said. Every shot is a story. Every breath matters. Every movement counts. If you rush, if you let your mind wander, you fail. Grandpa showed him how to hold the rifle properly. He placed Alex's hands on the stock, his shoulder against the rifle's weight. Alex tried to lift it, but the rifle felt heavy, too heavy for someone his age. Grandpa chuckled softly. You'll get used to it. They started slowly. Grandpa taught him to breathe with the rifle, to feel the weight shift as he moved, to aim with patience. Hours passed. Moonlight grew brighter, then faded. The night deepened, and still Alex struggled. But Grandpa didn't get angry. He just corrected, guided, and waited. You feel the wind? Grandpa asked. Not just see it, feel it. Every little gust will push your bullet. 1 degree left or right, and you miss. Alex nodded. He closed his eyes and breathed slowly. He felt the grass move, the cold night air brush his face. He felt the rifle heavy in his hands, the ground firm beneath his boots. For the first time, he understood what Grandpa meant. This wasn't just about shooting. It was about being part of the world around you. Suddenly, a snapping sound echoed behind them. A branch breaking. Both of them froze. Grandpa's eyes scanned the darkness. Alex tensed. It's just the field, Grandpa said quietly. Or maybe an animal. Keep going. They continued their practice. Target after target. Sometimes Alex hit the center, sometimes he didn't. Grandpa's patience never faltered. His voice was calm, gentle, yet firm when needed. Don't fight the rifle, he said. Let it work with you. Respect it. It's not about forcing it. It's about understanding it. Hours passed. Alex's arms ached. His back stiffened, but he didn't complain. Grandpa noticed, but he also noticed something else. Alex's determination. That fire in his grandson reminded him of himself when he was young, full of energy, full of courage, but reckless. He had to teach Alex control, discipline, wisdom. At one point, Alex let out a frustrated sigh. I can't do it. It's too hard. I'll never be like you. Grandpa shook his head, a small smile on his lips. Alex, you don't need to be me. You need to be you. You just need to learn to listen, to watch, to wait. That's what makes a marksman. Not muscles, not speed, patience. Alex nodded, trying to steady his breathing. Grandpa watched him quietly. He thought about the past, the wars, the long nights in the jungle, the silence before the shot, the weight of responsibility. All those lessons he had learned the hard way, and now he had to pass some of them to his grandson, without pulling him into the darker parts he had once faced. Finally, Grandpa gave Alex a small nod. Enough for tonight. You've learned more than you know. Alex put down the rifle slowly. His arms trembled, but his eyes shone. He had felt something deeper tonight, something more than just strength. He had felt focus, control, and a strange pride. Pride not in power, but in discipline and understanding. Grandpa patted him on the shoulder. Tomorrow we go further. We'll try long shots, further distances, but for now, rest. Let your mind remember what your body just learned. Alex grinned, exhausted but happy. I want to do better, Grandpa. I really do. Grandpa's eyes softened. Good. That fire will serve you well. But remember, it's just a tool. The man behind it. That's what matters most. As they walked back to the farmhouse, the moon disappeared behind clouds. The field was quiet again, filled only with the whispers of grass in the wind. But something had changed. Alex had seen the first glimpse of the discipline and wisdom that had once made his grandfather legendary. Inside, Alex cleaned the rifle carefully while Grandpa prepared tea. They didn't speak much. Words weren't needed. The bond between them had grown tonight. Something unspoken had passed from grandfather to grandson, the beginning of a lesson that could not be learned in books or videos. But outside the quiet farmhouse, the night seemed heavier. Shadows moved differently, and distant sounds unnoticed before now made Alex glance toward the trees. Grandpa noticed it too. He didn't say anything. He had faced fear, danger, and surprise before. He knew that teaching Alex wasn't just about rifles. It was about preparing him for a world that could be unpredictable and unforgiving. Tonight had been only the beginning. And tomorrow the real challenges would start. The bond between grandfather and grandson, the lessons of patience, focus, and respect, were now planted. And soon, both of them would face trials that tested more than aim or skill. They would be tested on courage, trust, and understanding. The next morning, the sun barely touched the horizon. Mist hovered over the wide-open field, and the air smelled of damp grass. Grandpa and Alex arrived early. The rifle lay carefully in its case, waiting. Alex's excitement mixed with nerves. He could feel it in his stomach. This was no longer a game. Today would test everything he had learned. Grandpa looked at him quietly. Remember, focus. Breathe. Respect the weapon, but respect yourself more. You control it, never the other way around. Alex nodded, swallowing hard. He lifted the rifle carefully, the familiar weight grounding him. For a moment he felt the fear. Fear of failure, fear of getting hurt, fear of letting Grandpa down. But Grandpa's steady gaze reminded him, control your mind, control your hands. Look at the target, Grandpa said. Not just with your eyes, see it, feel it. Imagine the shot before it happens. Alex exhaled slowly. His fingers tightened on the trigger. The mist around him seemed to fade, leaving only him, the rifle, and the distant steel target glinting in the morning light. The world had shrunk to this single moment. He fired. The sound echoed across the field. A heartbeat of silence, then ping! The bullet struck the target perfectly in the center. Alex's heart jumped. Grandpa didn't smile, didn't cheer. He simply nodded, almost imperceptibly. That was all the recognition Alex needed. Good, Grandpa said quietly. Now, one more. Longer distance. Alex blinked. Longer? Grandpa pointed to the far edge of the field, where a second target waited, smaller, farther, almost hidden in the morning haze. This one will test your mind as much as your body. You need to feel the wind, the light, the distance. Think before you pull. Alex took a deep breath. He remembered everything Grandpa had taught him. Patience, focus, respect. He steadied himself. For the first time, he felt connected to the rifle. Not as a tool, but as part of him. He fired. The bullet struck the edge of the target. Not perfect, but close. Alex frowned, frustrated. He wanted perfection. Grandpa didn't say anything. He simply adjusted Alex's stance and told him, feel it. Don't fight it. Hours passed, mist lifted, sun climbed higher. Each shot brought new lessons. Alex learned the rhythm of breathing, the subtle weight of the rifle, the dance of the wind. Mistakes happened. Sometimes bullets hit too high, too low, too left. But Grandpa never scolded. He guided, he corrected, he taught. By late morning, a small crowd of neighbors and local kids had gathered at the edge of the field, curious about the strange sight. A boy and an old man training in the open field with a sniper rifle. Whispers filled the air. "Is that Alex? Who's the old man?" But Grandpa didn't care. He was focused entirely on the task, on teaching Alex more than just aim. Then came the real challenge. Grandpa took Alex to a new position near a grove of trees, where shadows and sunlight mixed unpredictably. The target here was smaller, farther, almost blending into the natural scenery. Alex's confidence wavered. He had succeeded before, but this was different. This target demanded not only skill, but nerves and patience. "Alex," Grandpa said, "this shot will teach you more than any perfect hit. If you rush, you'll fail. If you hesitate, you'll fail. You must be one with your surroundings." Alex nodded. His hands trembled slightly. He took his position, adjusted the rifle, and waited. Time slowed. He felt every leaf, every whisper of wind, every rustle of grass. His mind cleared of everything except focus. He exhaled, pulled the trigger, and the rifle cracked. For a moment, nothing happened. The target didn't move. Alex's stomach dropped. He had missed. Grandpa's face stayed calm, unreadable. Alex felt a surge of panic. I missed," he whispered. Grandpa put a hand on his shoulder. "Not yet," he said. "Wait." They both watched. Slowly, the wind shifted. Sunlight caught the steel edge. Ping! The bullet had hit, just barely, but it counted. Alex's shoulders relaxed. His chest rose with a deep breath. He had done it. He had succeeded. Grandpa nodded, finally allowing a small smile. "See? You didn't just shoot. You understood. That's what matters." At that moment, something changed. Alex felt a spark inside him, a mixture of pride, courage, and calm. He realized that skill wasn't just about power or aim. It was about patience, focus, and respect for what you held in your hands. And more importantly, respect for yourself. Then a sudden noise shattered the calm. A truck engine roared in the distance, followed by voices shouting orders. Grandpa and Alex froze. A group of local authorities had arrived. Drawn by the crowd and noise, they shouted for them to stop, to put the rifle down. Alex's heart pounded. He glanced at Grandpa, expecting fear, but Grandpa's eyes were steady, calm. "Don't panic," he whispered. "Just remember what we practiced. Focus." Alex followed Grandpa's instructions. Slowly, carefully, they put the rifle down. Grandpa explained everything to the authorities, calmly showing that it was a controlled lesson, safe and responsible. His quiet confidence and mastery calmed the officials, who eventually nodded, impressed with both the lesson and the boy's determination. Later, as the crowd dispersed and the field returned to quiet, Grandpa and Alex sat on the grass. Alex was tired, sunburned, sweaty, but glowing with excitement. "Grandpa, I did it," he said. "I really did it." Grandpa nodded. "Yes, and you learned more than just shooting today. You learned patience, focus, and courage. Remember these. One day, they will matter more than any target." Alex looked at his grandfather, seeing him in a new light, not just as a hero of the past, but as a guide, a teacher, a man whose lessons were far more powerful than the rifle he held. They walked back home slowly. The field behind them was peaceful again. The rifle case was safely stored. But Alex knew this was only the beginning. A storm of challenges was waiting, both in life and in lessons yet to come. And he felt ready, because now he carried more than just the weight of a rifle. He carried the wisdom of his grandfather. The next morning, the sun rose slowly over the field. A soft golden light spread across the grass, casting long shadows. Grandpa was sweeping the field again, the broom moving in slow, steady strokes. The familiar rhythm filled the quiet air, calm and peaceful. Alex approached him, holding 2 steaming cups of tea. He walked slowly, unsure of how to begin. "Grandpa, I just wanted to say thank you," he said quietly, handing him a cup. His voice was soft, filled with sincerity. Grandpa stopped sweeping and looked at him. His eyes, pale but clear, met Alex's. He took the cup, letting their fingers brush for a brief moment. You don't need to thank me, Alex. You did the work. You faced the challenge. I just guided you. Alex nodded, feeling a warm pride inside. I understand now. It's not about hitting the target. It's about focus, patience, and respect. Grandpa smiled gently. Exactly. The rifle, the skill, even the danger, it's nothing without respect. Respect for the tool, for the task, and for yourself. That's what makes a true marksman and a true person. They stood there for a moment, sipping tea in silence. The field was empty now, only the gentle rustle of grass in the morning breeze. Alex felt different, stronger, calmer, more aware of the world around him. He realized that the lessons Grandpa had taught him went beyond rifles or targets. They were lessons for life, discipline, patience, courage, and the quiet power of focus. Grandpa looked at the horizon, his gaze distant. Memories flickered across his mind. The jungle, the battles, the friends he had lost, the victories no one remembered. He thought about how far he had come and the responsibility he carried to pass on what he had learned. Alex broke the silence. Grandpa, will you teach me more? Grandpa chuckled softly. Of course, but remember, each lesson comes with patience. You can't rush wisdom. They stood together, two figures in the early light, one old and weathered, the other young and eager, yet both connected by a bond that went beyond family, a bond of trust, respect, and understanding. Over the coming weeks, Alex continued his training under Grandpa's guidance. He grew stronger, more confident, and more aware of himself. He made mistakes, learned from them, and slowly mastered not only the rifle but the lessons that shaped character. The people around them noticed the change, but no words could fully describe the quiet transformation that had taken place. One day as the sun set behind the distant hills, Grandpa looked at Alex and said, "Remember this, Alex. The man behind the rifle is always more important than the rifle itself. Respect the tool, yes, but respect the person next to you even more. That's all that matters." Alex nodded, feeling the weight of those words sink deep into his heart. He knew he would carry them forever, and in that quiet field under the fading light, a legacy of courage, patience, and quiet strength had passed from one generation to the next. Grandpa returned to his sweeping, the rhythmic sound of the broom blending with the whisper of the wind. Alex sat nearby, looking out over the field, the lessons of the past guiding him toward the future. And for the first time, he understood. True power is not loud or flashy. It is quiet, steady, and carried with respect. The field was peaceful. The lessons had been learned, and the bond between grandfather and grandson had become something unbreakable.